This is what we get with the Republican Party. Lies and subterfuge and distraction. While they say Donald Trump isn't intended to be a king, we're just joking it, we're doing to own the libs, Donald Trump himself says out of his mouth, he's not joking. He wants a third term. He wants to violate the United States Constitution, a document to which he rose his right hand and swore twice now that he would support and defend. And Republicans, same thing. This document they pull out of their pockets and wave around because it's a prop for them. It means nothing. And Donald Trump, his justification for wanting a third term, he says he's wildly popular in the polls. The people love him, and that's why. Unfortunately, there is no popularity clause within the Constitution to justify or allow for a third term. And we got the White House, the official account of the White House tweeting out shit like this: long live the king. You're not beating the accusations that it's a cult when you do shit like this, White House. Here is a headline from NBC News. Over the weekend, Kristen Welker from Meet the Press had a phone call with Donald Trump, from which I have a long transcript. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read a couple of sections here of exactly what was said, exactly what was intimated to this journalist about Donald Trump's intentions to run for a third term and the methods they'll use to get him there. We don't have plans, but we've got methods, he says. Here's the headline. Trump won't rule out seeking a third term in the White House, tells NBC News. There are methods for doing so. President Donald Trump said in a Sunday morning phone call that he was not joking about a third term, adding that, quote, "It is far too early to think about it." Where are all of the constitutional purists, the originalists, all the people who bemoan disrespect for our founding document? Where are they? It's crickets from the peanut gallery of liars who don't give a shit about abiding by the Constitution. If they did, if all of these people who act like they have some libertarian strain running through them, they would be protesting this. They would be at the very least sounding off with their disagreement with the prospect. But they're not. Here's the article. President Donald Trump did not rule out the possibility of seeking a third term in the White House, which is prohibited by the Constitution under the 22nd Amendment, saying in an exclusive interview with NBC News that there were methods for doing so and clarifying that he was not joking. Quote, "A lot of people want me to do it," Trump said in a Sunday morning phone call with NBC News, referring to his allies. "But, I basically tell them we have a long way to go, it's very early in the administration." How does it have anything to do with whether you run for a third term that it's early in this administration? You're relegated to 2 terms by the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution. How popular you are and where you are at this moment of time in your administration has no bearing on the prohibition against a third term for a president. "I'm focused on the current," Trump added in some of his most extensive comments to date about serving a third term. When asked whether he wanted another term, the president responded, "I like working. I'm not joking," Trump said when asked to clarify, "but I'm not. It is far too early to think about it." He is an addled, abject moron, this clown. When asked whether he has been presented with plans to allow him to seek a third term, Trump said, "There are methods which you could do it." NBC News asked, it's Kristen Welker, by the way, the NBC News they're talking about. It's Kristen Welker. Kristen Welker asked about a possible scenario in which Vice President J.D. Vance would run for office and then pass the role to Trump. Trump responded, "That's one method." So they're going to get you on a technicality, they think. They're going to pull some electoral chicanery, put Donald Trump on as the vice presidential candidate in 2028. And then when J.D. Vance wins the presidency, ostensibly, they would hand that, Donald Trump would then become the president after having been coronated I mean, long live the king, right? Trump responded again, that's one method, but there are others too, Trump added. Asked to share another method, Trump simply responded, no. Amending the Constitution to abolish the two-term limit would be exceedingly difficult, requiring either a two-thirds vote of Congress or two-thirds of the states. Not either, both. Is that what that means? You need both of these things to amend the Constitution, not either. It's not, it's just, I don't know if this is terrible writing or just a choice to use such slippery language here. You need both things to amend the Constitution of the United States. Amending the Constitution to abolish the two-term limit would be exceedingly difficult, requiring either a two-thirds vote of Congress or two-thirds of the states agreeing to call a constitutional convention to propose changes. Either route would then require ratification. Okay, they clarify here. Either route would then require ratification from 3/4 of the states. The president pointed to his high poll numbers, saying, that's a lot of people who would like me to hold office for a third term. Trump has previously commented on running for a third term in office, though Republicans have seen these comments as jokes or the president trolling his critics. No, they have not. They know what they're doing. Why are we still giving these people the benefit of the doubt? NBC News? Kristen Welker? Why? Well, and Republicans have seen these comments as jokes. Have they seen them as jokes, or do they know? Do we have congressmen who are actually putting forward amendments, bills to roll through the House, to go through the Senate, to amend the Constitution to give Donald Trump the legal authority to run for a third term? It would be funny seeing Obama come back. Quite the matchup, right? Have Obama run for a third term against Donald Trump's third term, who's already addled, who's already in diminished status relative to his cognition. That would be great. The White House has amplified Trump's comments, likening himself to royalty, posted a picture of a fake magazine cover depicting the president with the crown after the administration shot down the congestion pricing in New York City. The White House's post to X quoted Trump's previous comments on Truth Social. Long live the king, they said, which I've showed you. Now, I was going to read this, but really they got to all of the... Here's what I want to talk about. And this is his adherence to whether he's popular within the Republican Party. He doesn't even say the country. He just says, a lot of Republicans love me, as though that's a justification to violate the Constitution. Here was the question from Kristen Welker. So when you're... And then I know you're joking about this, but I've been talking to a lot of your allies, and they say they're very serious. I talked to Steve Bannon on the record, quite frankly, so I can just tell you, he says he's, really seriously looking at potential plans that would allow you to serve a third term. Donald Trump responds, well, let me put it this way. You have to start by saying, I have the highest poll numbers for any Republican for the last 100 years. We're in the high 70s in many polls, in the real polls, and you see that. And we're very popular, and a lot of people would like me to do that. But I basically tell them we have a long way to go. It's very early in the administration. So because he has a 70s approval rating from Republicans, it used to be in the 90s, brother. Do you remember the polls? Do you man, woman, camera, TV? Do you remember? Do you remember the polls, Donald Trump? Anyway, dangerous, planning to violate the Constitution through their methods. There's no plans to, we just have methods. He has concepts of a plan through the methods to accomplish the plan, I guess is how it works. They're eating the pets. They're eating the cats. When we said he wants to end democracy in America, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't hyperbole. It was not even mild exaggeration. They want to end democracy. They want to have the boot of their dear leader upon their neck. Whether they violate the Constitution to do it or not, whether they conduct an insurrection against the country to try to end democracy, they don't care about the rule of the majority. They don't care about the will of we, the people. Again, this is only a prop to Republicans, just like the troops are. It's just something to be jingoistic, to act like they care about the country. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I'm going to leave you there. I appreciate you very much. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore just about everywhere. Not on Nazi Twitter, but everywhere else at Dollemore. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.